All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is Friday, May 12th, 2023. Just want to go over some of the top headlines from today and yesterday. Didn't get a chance to stream live yesterday. But Lori Vallow, also Lori Vallow Daybell, found guilty of murdering her children. And what's really interesting about the day her children disappeared was the first child disappeared on September 8th, which is the Virgin Mary's birthday, as it's celebrated in the Catholic Church. We're going to get to how this verdict syncs with the current Pope. Again, we're on a calendar named after a Pope. And the ritual to the story, with parallels of a parent giving up their child. God the Father gives up the Son, Jesus. And one of her two children who's dead, their name is also Joshua. If you didn't know, Joshua is the English translation of Jesus. Talk more about that. Elon Musk named the new CEO of Twitter, and he did it 47 days before his upcoming birthday. Again, if you're new here, I have a license plate in the background that says, "What is 47?" We talk about these secret societies and why they are fixated around doing rituals with this number, always paying tribute to time so frequently. And here's the latest with Elon Musk and the new CEO. Talk more about it. Natalie Holloway, her disappearance, which was the super important story that so many news networks carried on with for so long, that the occasional missing blonde girl story. She's back in the news. One of the people connected to her death being extradited to the U.S. We'll talk about why this happened. Remember how the other day we were talking about how on May 10th you had the George Santos 13 charges on the Pope's 145th day of his age? In this case, this story, Vanderloot, who's being extradited, also 145. This story also on the 145th day of the Pope's age. Again, the point we're making around here every day. You learn this little simple code of letters and numbers, dates. You see how the rituals unfold day after day. We'll talk about Title 42 being replaced by Title 8, which is actually more drastic in terms of the consequences for people trying to cross the border illegally. It's interesting that it's a difference of 34. We know how Trump just had that 34 charges done against him in the time of Passover. But, of course, Title 42 and what's going on there goes back to the Trump administration. So we'll talk more about that and the timing of this. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, you might have heard that he was arrested. They're saying he'll be released because the arrest was wrongful, but the arrest ritual came 201 days from his upcoming birthday. Again, if you're new here, you'll hear about that number a lot and why Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201. And then a clear sports ritual, the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins. Dan Snyder's out. It's got new ownership, and the new ownership is Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers and Josh Harris of the 76ers. And, of course, the Lakers and 76ers are trying to get to the finals right now. They're in the playoffs, both in battles. And, again, just L.A. and Philly, Kobe, the team in Washington, D.C., the new capital, Philly, the old capital. Again, just what are the odds that these two are buying the team together at this time of all times? And recall when Magic Johnson's father died recently on the 8th day of the 3rd month, like 83, I talked about how Magic Johnson was the NBA MVP Finals, or NBA Finals MVP in 1980. That was the year the Lakers beat Philly in the finals, the year that Philadelphia went to 4 championships in one sports season. If the 76ers make it to the finals, it'll be the first time since 1980 that Philly went to 4 championships in a year. And then the Lakers and Philly played each other a number of times around that time period. In 1983 in the finals, which was 40 years ago, Philadelphia swept the Lakers 4-0 in the series. 4-0, 40 years ago, 83. And the funny thing about 83 is, in 83, the Washington Commanders, who were then the Redskins, went to the Super Bowl. And the Lakers and Philadelphia played each other. And again, Magic Johnson's father just died on the 8th day of the 3rd month. And as we know, football equals 83, going with the football team purchase. Murder equals 83. So, what are the odds? And, did Dan Snyder really ever control the Redskins? Will Magic Johnson or Mr. Harris really ever control, Redskins now Commanders? Again, all these leagues are participating in the script that seems to come from, the Jesuit order that really runs these leagues and these news media outlets. And then they have all these little people to make us think like, oh, they're the owners. Oh, there could be some conspiracy because there's all these different owners. They all want to win the Super Bowl. That's the story we're being told. That's all part of his story. But again, just the ritualism of all this. 1983 Super Bowl. Redskins over the Dolphins. 1983 championship. 76ers over the Lakers 4-0 40 years ago. And there's some other things that are really interesting about this. If you want to read my post at GematriaEffect.news, you can get some more information. I'll talk about it more on Patreon in our next sports stream. And when I said I didn't stream yesterday, I mean we did stream on Patreon. It's just I didn't end up having enough time for the public stream. I like to do at least one stream a day, so we'll make up for missing yesterday today. Okay. Talk more about. I learned something new about Skull and Bones. We're always talking about Skull and Bones and rig sports. Now I realized that the Russell Trust Association, the money behind Skull and Bones, they're part of the rituals. So we'll talk more about that, and it seems to relate back to Kobe's death. Again, just in light of all roads leading to Rome and the Jesuits running the circus of rig sports. Here's two superstar twin prospects being hyped right before Gemini at the time of the twins. But the names are Amen Thompson and Osir Thompson. Osir means Osiris, sun god. But notice how their names in Jesuit order are all 54, like the word sun is 54. And yeah, there's even more to say about it. We'll talk about Coach K just now signing up for the NBA. And we'll talk about Robert Kraft inviting Brady to the Week 1 game exactly 12 weeks before Brady's birthday, number 12. And Joe Biden said maybe use the 14th Amendment to overcome the debt ceiling. And the 14th Amendment has to do with going from slavery to citizenship. And, when you become a citizen, then you become a debt slave. So we'll look at why he did that on May 9th after winning the 59th election. And we know what we know about 5-9 in light of slavery. But let's start right here. Lori Vallow, who again, she gave up her children. She sacrificed her children. And nonetheless, when she was 46 years old. But again, if you're new here, Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. Catholic and sacrifice equal 46 in Gematria. She was 46 when her children disappeared. The first child disappeared September 8th, the Virgin Mary's birthday. September 8th is also the 251st day of the year, which is the 54th prime number. The word sun equals 54. Mary, the mother of the Son of God. But anyhow, look at this with Lori Vallow. She's 49 years old now. Lori Vallow, 49, like Catholicism. And this news comes, her birthday is June 26th, like 26/6, like 266, like how we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the 266th, from the Jesuit motto, we sus hominum salvator equals 266. But from her birthday to today is 320 days later. Roman Catholic Church equals 320, and the Catholic Church has celebrated Jesus' birthday on 12/25 since the year 320 AD. Catholic Church and Roman Catholic both equal 132. This news comes on the 132nd day of the year. So again, we got Roman Catholic Church and Catholic Church corresponding with the distance from her birthday to also this day of the year. if you're new here, from the day the Illuminati was founded, May 1st, 1776, to the day the U.S. was named, September 9th, 1776, was a span of 132 days. Like there's 132 rooms in the White House. United States of America also equals 132. Big number. But anyhow, you have these nice Catholic numbers aligning, and then also the first child who disappeared on the Virgin Mary's birthday, they disappeared in Yellowstone, which also equals 132, one of the national parks. And again, now this verdict on the 132nd day of the year. And a lot of people do disappear in the national parks each year. It's one of those weird things about America. You know, a lot of us, as long as we're still breathing and living, we're like, well, we've been to the parks and we've been just fine. But there are a lot of people that disappear from the national parks. So this happened in the national park. And her full name, Lori Vallow Daybell, 74, 97, and 259, just like Roman Catholicism, 74, 97, and 259. They call her Cult Mom, some of the headlines. Cult Mom, 97, Death, 97, Killing, 74. With regards to the whole Jesus thing, today's 146 days after the Pope's birthday. Her name equals 74. So does Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ equals 74 and 146. Again, in case you're new here, to show you how this works, very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order with numerology and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. But Jesus Christ, 74, 146. We're going to end up talking about the 43 in this as well. But just Jesus alone, if you're new here, is also 74, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables, like Masonic, like occult, like killing, like Jewish, like Joshua. Again, one of the children's names is Joshua. By the way, the reason I think the Jesuits like that 266 is because the 26th verse of the Bible, God makes man on the 6th day in the 26th verse. Her nickname, Doomsday Mom, has that Gematria 47. One of the main people to her surviving adult son. It says, although Idaho state prosecutors brought 60 witnesses to the stand in presenting their case against Vallow, including her surviving adult son, Kobe Ryan, the defense did not call a single witness during the evidence phase of the trial. Okay, so Kobe Ryan, her surviving son, has the Gematria 47, like Doomsday Mom. Again, big number. Judge, gavel, authority, government, president, White House, Republican, Democrat, Christian, Vatican, news. They're all 47. Again, time is the ultimate authority. I think I put it up here with the time. I know I wrote that down. Maybe I wrote it down below. Anyway, the number 47, if you're new here, goes back to time. Time is 47, like authority. You know, judges will put you away for X amount of time. Always talking about the same numbers in court cases. When Trump was found liable the other day for sexual abuse, it was exactly 47 weeks after his birthday. Of course, Trump 47. Who said he'd done more in 47 months than Biden had done in 47 years, and so on and so forth. But also the 60. The news comes on 60-date numerology. And also Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow. She was charged with their murder on the 145th day of the year. And it was a date with 71 numerology. Again, Gematria, forwards and backwards. Known as Catholic. 71 forward, 71 date numerology on the 145th day of the year. Again, she was 46 years old when they disappeared. 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. And then JFK, first Catholic president, again, look at it again. JFK, first Catholic president, number 35, dead at age 46. Joe Biden, the second, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. The bodies of the two children were found on June 9th, of all days, 6/9. One of the dead children, Tylee Ashlyn Ryan, 69, like 6/9 recovery date, 201, like the Jesuit order. Again, Order of Illuminati 201, Illuminati 69, Catholic Church 69. The other child's name, 223. A lot of 223 in 2023, the year of this verdict. The Synagogue of Satan. Again, look into the history of the Jesuits, the Alliance, how it all comes together. If you don't know what the synagogue of Satan is, it's talked about in Revelation. From the day of the first disappearance to today, the verdict is 191 weeks and 3 days later. 191, Society of Jesus. 191, the 43rd prime, Jesus Christ 43. Again, Jesus Christ 43. Today, 146 days after the Pope's birthday. Her name's 74. One of the children's name's 74. Again, I mean, it's easy to see the rituals and how this is being done. Why does this happen to a Lori Vallow? Is this the real story? Is that really what happened? Her children both disappear and they're murdered and it's all her. I mean, could be something like that, but of course we're not getting the whole story because there's a reason that all of these rituals are so perfect. And we're talking about the same dates and the Virgin Mary's birthday, year after year, tragedy after tragedy. Last year it was the Queen, 201 days after being diagnosed with COVID on the Virgin Mary's birthday. Again, the Queen, in her actual birth name, she has Mary in it. Talking a lot about Mary last year when the Queen died. But again, just the fact that there's a network out there. Again, an Illuminati network working by the code, and certain people become part of this network. I just imagine certain people get brought into this network, and sometimes when you're part of this network, I don't know if it's if you screw up or if you draw the short straw. This happens. Again, I wish we could talk to Lori Vallow and get the full story. Somehow we need to find the people in the world who are close enough that have information to share. Over the years, we've had some people call in and reveal some information, but just so many people are afraid to talk. But there's a reason that the same dates keep coming up. And it's like, what it goes to show is there's somebody behind a Lori Vallow pushing for these things to happen on these dates. Then years later, the perfect verdict comes to remind you who's orchestrating the whole show. And just constantly the same kinds of, just morbid themes in the news for people to think about. Recurring story. The parent who, killed their own children. We've heard it before with different names. The man who killed his whole family. The mom who drove her kids off the bridge. I vaguely remember something when I was a child just being in church, and it was for a news story. God, my mom's out there, she can call in, but there was we went to some different normal than Sunday church service. I was young, so I just remember okay, we're not going our normal Sunday routine, we're also going in the week. But it was the congregation was there to discuss something about a mother who'd killed their children, and I just remember people I'd never seen people really debating with each other and maybe getting upset over a difference of opinion. It was just different than any other time at church. But I remember it was to meet about that story because it disturbed so many people. To go back and look, I imagine I was somewhere around 7 years old when that happened. But there's always stories like this, and there probably will be some church group meeting this tonight to discuss and what's right and what should be done. And but again, imagine we live in a world where there's not screens everywhere, right? And we're not constantly thinking about what the screens are telling us to think about. That's the whole thing about this world. Everyone's just like I keep saying, in most homes, the voice with the most authority is the one on the screen. So, but look how perfect it is with the Catholic numbers. And then Elon Musk getting his new CEO 47 days before his birthday. Again, time and authority 47. A CEO, a position of authority. This a ritual in time. 47, the number of time and authority. Elon Musk, seen as this, man of our times. This brilliant man that runs all these innovative companies, who might be the savior of free speech. The way he's being hyped up in this same media. By the way, news equals 47. this number in the news all the time. This was the number that kind of got me to find out Gematria. Kept seeing 47, just way too much. And I was like, is there something about 47 I need to know? It's kind of like this nation's birthday, the 4th day of the 7th month. But anyway, speaking of time, rituals and time. But yeah, this guy, if you're new here, I mean, just all the time with Elon Musk, it's a perfect ritual. It often is a time ritual. And the biggest joke of all time was when they declared him the richest man in the world for the very first time on the anniversary of the death of Nikola Tesla. And it was the 78-year anniversary of his death. And both Tesla and Jesuit are 78. So, Elon. Okay. And then again, Natalie Holloway, suspect in the disappearance, who we heard the most about, Mr. Vanderloot, getting extradited on the Pope's 145th day of his age. You know, Vanderloot. George Santos in big trouble that day. George Santos with the Synagogue of Satan tribute. Those who claim to be Jews but are not. Revelation 3. And then this news was on 10/5 when Holloway's 105, like Order of Illuminati, like Masonry, like Jorge Mario Bergoglio. And, yeah, I could go back and do a lot more work, I imagine, on Natalie Holloway. I noticed from her birthday to the day they declared her dead was 83 days later. Murder 83. Give me just about that with Magic Johnson's father. Dead the 8th month of the third, or excuse me, the 8th day of the 3rd month, 8th of March, 38 weeks after his birthday. Murders 38 the small way, 83 the big way. She was declared dead January 12th, 2012, the 12th day of the year 12. Catholic Church has us on the counting system of 12 months, 12 hours in the morning, 12 hours in the evening. We don't think about how strange that is. That we do that we divide the day into 12s instead of just counting it all the way through like the military. We're just so used to it all. The zodiac in 12. We're just talking about that number 78. 78's the 12th triangular number, which means if you had 1 through 12, it's 78. But yeah, again, I mean, I feel like if you explain this to somebody and like, think about it. In the same century, the calendar named after the Pope, the language standardized this way, the heliocentric model, the church, the authority connected to all of this. And then, you know, all these rituals have synced up with the Pope ever since. Pope 52-week calendar. I mean, showing you day after day. If you missed what, I mean, just day after day if you're new here. Go back and watch other videos. Day after day, the same things. So Title 42 expiring, Title 8 in effect. I looked up where Title 8 came from. It was created in 1990 by President George H.W. Bush of Skull and Bones, November 29th, 1990. That's the day leaving 32 days left in the year. Or if you count that day through December 31st, those are the last 33 days of the year, meaning there's 32 days after November 29th. But it's interesting that right now is 32 and a half years since it was created. Between 32 and 33, like November 29th connects to the 32 days after, but also that day through the last day is a total of 33 days. And I noticed the day that Title 8 passed, it was a date with 149 numerology. We just had the 149th Kentucky Derby where the horse in post 8 won. Mage in post 8 at the 149th. Now we got Title 8 back that was created on a 149 date numerology. Skull and Bones 149 in the time of a Skull and Bones president. And Title 8 has the same gematria as Kentucky Derby, Washington, D.C., Freemason, Society of Jesus, all 56, like how the Kentucky Derby was on 5/6. Ronald Reagan's also 56, who died on the 5th day of the 6th month, who was the president when George H.W. Bush was vice president before he became number 41. And yeah, just if you're new here, America 32, Masonry 33, like secrecy, like order, like federal, with that 32 to 33 years. Big numbers with the Scottish Rite that has its headquarters in D.C. So that jumped out to me. And then with regards to the whole Masonic thing, Freemason 42, and also the Jesuit thing, Jesuit 42, like Georgetown. Established the same year as George Washington, the Mason in D.C. And then the other thing that jumps out about Title 42 and the day it expired, it was May 11th. And again, it's connected to Trump. May 11th, we write at 5/11. Trump had the 511-day presidential campaign in 2015 and 2016. The one he won, the 58th, after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. And the date could also be written 115, 11/5. Trump took office with the 115th Congress. But Saturn is connected to time and justice and judgment. And the date May 11th, again, it can be written 5/11. Saturn in Jewish gematria equals 5/11. Saturn also equals 119 and 42. And the 42 is self-explanatory, Title 42. But the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals made sure that Title 42 stayed in effect on January 29th. That was 119 weeks from it expiring. So Saturn has that gematria of 42, 5/11, 119. If you're new here, we're getting into a little bit more exotic ciphers, but they are important in their patterns we've been talking about for a long time in relation to Saturn and time rituals. And Donald was declared president-elect in the early hours of the fall of in the early hours of November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. He copied Reagan with Make America Great Again. Reagan said, tear down the wall. Trump said, build the wall, to have him be the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the wall. The obvious mockery. Again, there's a lot to it, but Donald also has that 119 in Jewish gematria, or what Derek's renamed Latin. So yeah, that's what I see in the Title 42 expansion. I'm sure there's a lot more, actually. I'm sure if you look at it, there's a lot more to it. But again, just the repetitive time rituals. Again, you learn this code, you start to realize how it's all built together. The language, the calendar, the zodiac. It's like they took the concepts that are important from occult understanding of centuries past, and they combined it all into one system with our language and the calendar. It's really pretty brilliant when you look at what they've done. But it's also sad that they clue us in as kindergartners by learning the alphabetic order, but then they don't teach us step 2. They just leave us at step 1. They think maybe one day you'll find Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, or a book like that. Yeah, this arrest thing is clearly a Jesuit ritual in Pakistan, where they did all the Osama bin Laden Jesuit rituals more than a decade ago now. And yeah, we covered the Magic Johnson and 76ers owners taking over the Commanders in the time of the NBA playoffs. Here, I got to make sure you guys see this one. This is interesting. So Atachi spotted this yesterday, and then I thought maybe there's something to the number, because I'd never done any research on the number before, and then I was glad I looked into it because it all started to make a lot of sense. But let me scroll down here. So yesterday, the Celtics needed to win to stay alive, and Jason Tatum came into the game with 329 career wins, and then his superstar teammate Jaylen Brown, he went to the Cal Bears, and this year they had a rough year going 3-29. Now, notice in Gematria, Russell Trust Association equals 329, and it's named after a man whose name was William Russell, just like Bill Russell in the NBA's William Russell, who just died recently on the last day of the Jesuit Nation year, July 31st, right after the Celtics lost to San Francisco when Bill Russell played at the Jesuit school in San Francisco, out where the Cal Bears are. But look at this. The reason you can know that's not a coincidence is because the man who found the Russell Trust Association, which is the money behind Skull and Bones, look at what he went on to do. William Huntington Russell and Daniel Quake Gilman, they both created the Russell Trust Association. Daniel Quake Gilman also created the Johns Hopkins University. But then Gilman later went on to become president of the University of California. So the Russell Trust Association has a clear connection with the University of California. And then the William Russell, Bill Russell clearly goes with the Celtics. And Yeah, again, you see how they had this amazing alignment for this amazing crucial game in the 76th anniversary NBA season on the 76ers court. And again, Skull and Bones is 76 as well. And remember, this series began on the Illuminati's birthday, the 247th birthday of the Illuminati, and the 76ers got their 247th postseason win. If the 76ers win in Boston, Boston will fall to 7-6 in the playoffs, and Boston will get their 247th loss versus the 76ers. But it's tricky, though, because they can also get their 65th win of the season after coming in with 61. It's very interesting what they're doing in that series, but you can see the rituals and the secret societies. And again, Skull and Bones, modeled after how the Templars buried their dead. The Templar cross is in the Jesuit logo, and the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. How all these things fit together. So yes, Skull and Bones, part of the Illuminati network, obviously, just like the Jesuit order. And this Russell Trust Association. So here's what stood out to me. Again, Skull and Bones, 41, right? Russell Trust Association's the money behind it. We know Kobe dead at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Look at Russell Trust Association, 157. The 86 matters too. Notice last night in that game. In that game last night, with that 329 ritual, the 76ers went down with 86 points. Russell Trust Association, 86. But Kobe Bryant, 41, 157. Kobe dead at age 41 on the 157th day of his age. Russell Trust Association, And if you look into what the Russell Trust Association's about, they're invested in things that shape culture. By the way, they were created in 1856, but they're invested in things that shape culture. Well, don't sports do that? And they're always using sports as a way to get to the minds of the masses to talk about the other political stories that maybe the sports consumer, he's not watching so much Anderson Cooper, but they're going to get those Cooper narratives in there if you listen to enough sports. They'll make that part of the conversation. Downtime in the game. So yeah, you just got to say, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? And then there's even more to the ritual they did last night. The Celtics beat the Suns in the 76 finals. Last night, the Celtics stayed alive against the 76ers while the Suns got eliminated. The team that in the city that hosted Super Bowl 57, the Celtics won the day of Super Bowl 57 and finished the year with 57 regular season wins. And Super Bowl has that Gematria of 131. These rituals went down on the 131st day of the year. But about the 76 thing, again, Celtics beat the 76ers to stay alive. Celtics beat the Suns in the 76 finals. The Nuggets were in the ABA in 76 and made it to the championship but lost that year. Remember how we just had James Harden of the 76ers pay tribute to the Michigan State shooting victims? Well, notice Coach K just became a member of the NBA at age 76, and his birthday, Coach K's 76th birthday was the day of the Michigan State shooting, February 13th. He turned 76 the day of that Michigan State shooting. The last game Michigan State had against Coach K, they scored 76 points. They had 23 wins. Then all this happens in 23. His name, Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, however you say his name, Polish name. His name is 76. And yeah, the 23 wins is interesting also because Coach K is 23. But again, this comes right after James Harden does the ritual for the Michigan State shooting victim. And remember, overtime and shooting. That game went to overtime, and James Harden won it with the game winner. Shooting 107. The game went to overtime 107-107. The one with the shooting victim there. 44, James Harden scored the 44th points, went 4 for 4 from the stripe. The shooting at Michigan State was on the 44th day of the year. But look at the ritual as they talk about it all game, from the start of the game through the end, as James Harden becomes the hero doing it for the Michigan State shooting victims. So, again, Illuminati controlling your sports, your news, putting it all together, doing it ritualistically, doing it with numerology. And here, the day that Robert Kraft. Kraft equals 56. Born on 5/6. Robert Kraft, the day that he invites Brady to the openers, a Thursday. Thursday has that gematria 35 and 46, like Tom Brady, like Catholic, like I, like how the football's the shape of the eye, like how the first Super Bowl 35 points were scored in it, like how when the Patriots played the Bears in the Super Bowl, they lost 46-10, and the Bears had the revolutionary 4-6 defense. Again, for every Chicago football fan, Chicago 46 in the most simple 4-6 defense beat the Patriots 46-10. Years later, Patriots, or not Patriots, but they got Tom Brady out of Michigan. You see how Tom Brady's 46? So is Michigan. He was the 199th pick of the draft, the 46th prime. Notice in reverse, Michigan's 44, like the shooting on the 44th day of the year at Michigan State. Military's also 44. It was the day we began the exercise with the Greek military. The U.S. military did, the day of the Spartan shooting. But, again, they invite Brady exactly 12 weeks before his birthday, number 12, when the football field's 120 total yards long. 120 yards. Shout out to Jeremy White, YouTube channel JHW3D. He's got this clip right here from Sunday Night Football where they give a numerology lesson on 12, exactly what they call it. They're doing a numerology lesson on 12. And long before they did this, we called SNF the 12 game. Notice how SNF is 12 like Tom. Notice Aaron isn't, but Tom is. This was a game between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers where they're talking about the numerology of 12. I mean, let me just get that back up on the screen. And sure enough, in this game, Tom Brady went on to win this game on SNF after the numerology of 12. Aaron, no connection to 12. Tom with the connection to 12. And again, both guys wear the number 12. 12 months in the year, 12 hours in the morning, in the evening. 1,440 minutes in a day, 144 square root 12. So, and I mean, there's a lot more to say about all this, but yeah, that's why I do the post for people who want more information, who like to read it. GematriaEffect.news, that's my website. You can read more there. And then just Joe Biden, bringing up using the 14th Amendment, what allowed people to go from slaves to citizens, which is another kind of slavery. He had to bring this up on May 9th. I mean, it's just cold, you guys. Slave 59, Negro 59, Rasta 59, Blues 59, Black History Month, February, the month that ends on the 59th day of the year, Motown in 59, Obamacare 59. In a way, now it kind of makes more sense, right? Now that the VP's in there and all these new medical mandates, if you want to be a part of the system, got to help keep the Pfizer stock or shareholders happy. And, even Obama's book, A Promised Land, and the million other 59 things we've documented over the years. You might have noticed A Promised Land's 59 and 76. Look at slave again, 59, 76. Same with blues. Same with Rasta. Same with Negro. Acts 7-6, about 400 years of slavery. Barack Obama, 76. The nation's first black president. The federal government recognized Black History Month for the first time federally in 76. Biden, who won the 59th election, now the president of the citizens, or should we say debt slaves, thinking about using the 14th Amendment to overcome the debt ceiling. I mean, we're just getting smacked over the head here. And debt does have the gematria overlap with slave. Or no, actually, I take it back. I'm mistaken. Slave is 14, to go with the 14th Amendment thing, but not debt, actually. I was thinking for a minute it had that connection. Yeah, and if you guys didn't know, again, go back and look at Black History Month. Slave 76, they did in 76, and they did it on February 10th, a date written 10/2, like 102. Slavery 102. The American Civil War, April 12th, the 102nd day of the year over slavery. So, how fitting. It's 5:12 p.m. on the West Coast on May 12th, and I was thinking I got to get off here, Shout out to Nathan. He chipped in 20. He said, shout out to all the people who've listened for years and still don't say anything. That's how I was. Chat come out next time. Easiest thing ever is to drop a screen. Don't just watch. Participate. Cheers from Ohio. Yeah, Nathan's pound of pavement all over the place with us. And thank you, Nathan, for all you've done. And yeah, there are a lot of people that watch the videos that don't participate in the chat. So we'll leave it there, True Seeker. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time.